Hey, people, listen, it's Thursday. It's February the 19th, Thursday. Happy Thursday, people, and welcome in the building, okay? Welcome in the building. It's Thursday night. It's Trending Topics. It's nice to see y'all here. And the title is called, Can We Forgive? Can we forgive? You know, no matter how old you are, think about 20 years ago. Think about 20 years ago where you was and how you was at that point. So me, if I was to do 20 years ago, I would be 35. At 35, that's when I was pregnant with my son. And at that time, I'm still not the same person now that I was then. And so we're going to talk about this Tyra Banks backlash. They are roasting her in these streets. They got her on the barbecue, the rotisserie, and they're turning and turning and turning her, and they're cooking her. She's overdone right now. More people are coming for her neck than they are defending her. And I said, good googly my. And people like Diva, she was the producer. It was her, this and that. She ain't do that show solo. And let's be clear, the 3 judges that are on tour right now doing interviews about it, there was times where they wasn't that nice either. But they putting everything on Tyra Banks' back. Even though in that documentary, Kevin Monk, I think he was the producer also, whatever, of that show, even though he himself came out and said out his own mouth about the mistakes he made, they're still putting everything on Tyra Banks' back. Is Tyra Banks messy? Absolutely she is. But can we give some grace and forgive? Courtney, I'm coming. Give me a hold on 1 minute. Appreciate you. And then we got the Michael Jackson. They're talking about his turning point. And what happened and what could have happened if he didn't get hooked on the drugs. They said after he did that Pepsi commercial, he got hooked. And they're wondering what his life would be like if that didn't happen. And then y'all see on the end, I said, surprise guest. Everybody saw that? Well, listen, we all know that 2025, 2024, and 2023, our life was filled with nothing but Diddy. From the Diddy raids at his house to the Diddy arrest to the Diddy trial. And when that story was going on, there were so many different people that were introduced into our lives that had some piece of the pie or knew some information in regards to the Diddy situation. Well, one of the individuals that we saw, if you was following it, was Courtney Burgess. And Courtney, they was partly responsible, but he could tell us more when he comes up, with the Kim Porter book. And it was a lot of controversy over that. Her children were very upset, saying that their mother never had a diary. They don't know what this is about. Courtney said he had some tapes. We heard that. At one point, his lawyer was Ariel Mitchell Kidd. Well, now Courtney has written a book himself, his memoir. And let me share a screen because y'all could get it on Amazon. Share a screen real quick. Well, we'll talk to him more about it when he gets up here. It's called In the Streets and Industry. The Courtney Burgess story. About 300-something pages, $29.95. So go on Amazon and get it. I'm going to order it. And once I get it and read it, he will come back to tell us a little bit more and discuss his book. But in the meantime, now y'all be nice up in this chat. We got a guest coming through. So in the meantime, you welcome our guests. We give everybody a chance to hear their side of the story. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in our surprise guest. He's just coming through for a little bit, and we'll come back when we actually read this book. So let me bring him in the building. Hey, Courtney, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Cheryl?
Doing well. Thank you for being here. So
I'm
listen,
glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. So listen, Courtney,
Yes.
You were one of the people that it was a lot going on during the Diddy trial. And I see now that you have written a book. Give the people an update. Are you still in any legal obligations? What's going on? And show us the book. Yes.
This is the book. This is the first book that Kim, I still have sales for this. They didn't stop it because it was given to me before she passed away. So it was the sons couldn't stop it. So this is the beginning of it. So you can email me at CourtneyBurgess@gmail.com. You get the copies, only $25 for this. This you got to go on Amazon. But this is the Kim Porter official memoir. It's rated. They have all the pictures in there. So
with that memoir though, Courtney, I thought that it was a court order that had to be stopped. You couldn't sell it anymore.
No, I couldn't sell it.
You said you can't sell it.
I can still sell it. It was proven that it was her memoir. I'll be sure it was 80% true. Whoever got the book had to steal it or got it from her. And the reason why he said it was 80% because the other percent they say that he did things with Diddy. So that was a percentage. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. It was in a book. That's how I never wrote it, read it. I just downloaded it because I'm on publishers. And I published the book for her. You know what I'm saying? It was given to him before she was the life. Shakir Stewart gave it to me, one of her lovers. He had an altercation with Diddy at Reed wedding out of Italy. They jumped on him, assaulted him. And I was in the studio at the time, recording with my artists. And I was recording with him and Dave Lightly. And they wanted my artist, Dave Lightly. And Dave Lightly said to me, cut his hair. He had dreads at the time. So he said, only reason why I'm cutting it because I want to buy my mother and my grandmother a house. So after that, he said, could you send them to me? I want to take him to dinner. I said, yeah, we go. He said, no, I want him to stay the night with me. So I already knew he said that when it was going on. And I said, let me leave out here for a minute. So I said, what you mean you want my artist to stay the night with you? At the same time, Shakir Stewart was in the hallway talking on the phone. He said, cool, where you going? I said, I'm going out here, finish the phone call. He said, I got Kim on the phone. She want to speak to her. I said, Kim. And she pushed, he pushed the speaker. She said, Negro, you know who this is. This is Kim Porter. So I said, oh, what's up, Kim? I met Kim through Tupac Shakur. Me and Tupac grew up at the age of 14. So she wasn't a friend of mine. She was a friend of him. She was dating him. And the reason why she didn't stay with him because Diddy offered more. Understand? The white gay, you know, I guess she didn't want to go back to Alabama as a not a successful female. And Diddy at the time got her what she, you know, she wanted, that was her dream. They had a white gate, the nice cars, and she didn't just turn down Tupac, she left her husband. I'll be sure. So it was bigger than just Tupac. It was bigger than just her husband. It was more, I'm not going to say she took it as a bill ticket, but what else could it be? Because this man didn't marry her. He had 3 kids behind it. This man, she did her sacrifice of leaving her husband and her taking her son, but he didn't do his part. You understand why? She's a beautiful woman, beautiful black woman at that. If I had the chance, if I was given that opportunity, I would have married her because she took her son and herself out of another man's. You got to understand, Diddy Albert Shaw is friends. So that's a strike against her. You understand? So if she choose that life to leave her husband for his friend, he could have left the streets for her. So he didn't give her everything. I guess the cars, the money, and the house. She was worth. She figured she was worth more than that, and I don't blame her. Whether she white, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, she's a human, and every human deserves their net worth. It's priceless. So the car and the money and clothes wasn't enough for her. You understand?
So you wrote your book, In the Streets, in the Industry, the Courtney Burgess story. What made you decide to write this book? And tell us why you feel, my subscribers and everybody, we should get this book and read this book.
This is more than a book. This is a Bible for the hip hop.
Okay.
Look at it because it's both. It's industry and in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I called it that because all I wanted was a contract. Like growing up in Newark, I came up with Queen Latifah, Fugees. Before them, I came up with Shaq and Luther Wright. They had a contract. I wanted a sports contract as well. And by my travel through, after I graduated from high school, I was going to play for the Yankees, and some guys lied on me, said I had killed somebody, and I was a big time drug dealer, kingpin. So that took me out of sports. So I only had one more chance as a contract, and that was music. So from the streets, I went from the streets back into the industry, and I was happy for the contract because that's all I wanted. I wanted a contract. I didn't want to be in the streets. I didn't want to be a mailman. I didn't want to be a judge. I didn't want to be. My father wanted me to be a longshoreman. He was the head of Mason. My mother wanted me to be a judge. I wanted a contract. I didn't want to see neither one. My father wanted me to be a longshoreman, work on the ships, say make this amount of money. I didn't care about that. I wanted a contract. Was it a sport contract, a music contract, but it ended up being a music contract. I got signed by Atlantic Records. A friend of mine, Tane One, put me on. I was signed to Atlantic Records with them, and I took advantage of it. And I noticed the industry was like the streets. If you didn't hustle and beat your opponent, and had the best quality, it was nothing. And that's how the industry treats you. It's nothing. Like in the streets, if you ain't had blue cap, white cap, whatever, or the best, whatever was on the streets, you had your own product. So the music business, if you ain't had that swag, you ain't had that song, you ain't had that what everybody wanted, and that was 500,000 people or 1 million people, and you may say that's easy because look how many people in your own city. But if you couldn't get 500 sales, you wasn't nobody in the music business.
Right. So let me just go a little bit here, read the excerpt in your thing. Industries in Industry, the current Courtney Burgess story. Industries in Industry is a memoir, an expose that traces Courtney Burgess' life at the intersection of Newark street culture and the hip hop music industry, framed as a ledger of lived experience and documented truth. The book explores how power, loyalty, silence, and violence operate both on the streets and behind the scenes of the music business. The narrative begins with Burgess' upbringing in Newark, New Jersey, shaped by two powerful forces: the discipline and morality of the Baptist Church and the unforgiving survival codes of the streets. From an early age, Courtney learns the value of silence, observation, and keeping receipts, records, and memories. As he grew older, Burgess became a fixer and a connector in the music industry, moving between artists and promoters, labels, and street figures. Rather than fame, his role centers on soothing conflicts, protecting deals, and preventing violence, often at great personal risk. His close relationship with artists such as Tane One and his proximity to figures tied to Tupac Shakur placed him inside moments where creativity, money, and danger overlap. A central thread of the book is Courtney's role as a trusted custodian of sensitive material, flash drives, tapes, documents, and recorded confessions entrusted to him by Kim, a woman deeply embedded in the industry and connected to powerful figures. These receipts contain firsthand accounts of abuse, of power, manipulation, industry violence, and silent truth. Accepting them transforms Courtney from observer to witness and ultimately to truth teller. The book argues that the music industry mirrors the streets. Deals are enforced sometimes by fear as much as contract. Silence is currency. And telling truth, too much truth can get you erased. Burgess positions himself not as a judge or avenger, but as a record keeper determined to prevent history from being rewritten by those with money and influence. Throughout the memoir, balances themes of faith, legacy, masculinity, and moral conflict. Courtney's father, a disciplined principled master Mason, and his mother's church teaching provide a moral foundation that contrasts sharply with the corruption he witnessed. The story ultimately frames truth as dangerous but necessary, and memory as a form of resistance. So speaking of that, thank you. That was a good synopsis there. But during the at one point during the Diddy trial, it was said that you had tapes that showed some things that they were looking for, and you had to go down to the courthouse.
Yes.
But you ultimately did not even testify.
The reason why I didn't testify because it wasn't my fight. Like I consider myself as a made man. I grew up in a neighborhood with Jews, and I grew up in a neighborhood with the real Sopranos, the Galicios in West Orange. So by me being on the stand saying what I seen at the edge of that man's tongue or his personal parts, his body, that was snitching because that wasn't my fight. I told the state attorney, FBI, that the people on that tape was victims. They should come forward. It wasn't somebody just did it. Like the younger people that was on the tape. So I can say it now. Usher, Justin Bieber, Will Smith's son. They was victims. They was kids. That was enough. So if I would have came on it, I would have put myself in either probably protective custody. I would have been looked at as a snitch to tell on what this man did. And it's a shame that he wanted to sue me. And he only got 4 years. That's high school time. If I went to court, he only did at least 30 years. What I seen on them tapes. And I told the state attorney I couldn't watch it because I can't watch two men having sex or being intimate because that's not my culture. I believe in Adam and Eve. I was raised different from that. You understand? I don't even go to go-go bars. I respect every female, every culture. So by what he was doing to people called push play, that's what this book was about. I named it. He was the director because he directed people's life. He tried to make their destiny. That's why I call him Lucifer instead of who he was called, because once he had you on them tapes, he pushed till he pushed play. He wanted something, either have somebody move to a higher level or he wanted money. So I experienced that coming from the label one time. I was coming back. I was in my car and I had my godbrother in the car with me. And I pulled over from New York to get some bootleg DVDs in East Orange. And I told him not to get out of the car because he had on red. And I said, the Bloods and the Crips is out here. So I turned around to go back to my car. A bandana was tied on the medallion of my car. And I looked in the car, he wasn't in, and they was walking in the back. And somebody followed me from New York, and they shot me 6 times. So I dealt with the streets in the industry.
When did you get shot 6 times?
I got shot in September. I got shot April the 13th of 2000 in East Orange on South Month. So I prayed to God, don't let me down the street. So I walked to the hospital. It was like behind the hospital. It was that far. So I walked from behind the hospital from 361 to Central Avenue, and I went inside there. I told I just been shot. So when the cops came in, I told him I was making peace with God because I promised God that I would change my ways. Don't let me down in the city streets. I didn't want teddy bears and candles for me on the streets. So he gave me a second life again. So that's what made me closer to God. That it is God. My mother always told me with such thing in God, and I believed him. So by me believing him and his faith, he gave me another life. And people thought I died, so I had to step out of the music business from there to let them to make me more powerful because they thought I was done. But I came back, and that's when I released Nelly. Like I put Nelly out. I'm the real Courtney B that put Nelly out. A guy named Slim 21 came from St. Louis. He stayed with me. He told me about him, and I hooked him up with Maury Winkler, and that's how Nelly from Country Grammar came out. So I still was in the industry, but I was still staying backstage. I didn't want to be Jermaine Dupri. I didn't want to be a Suge Knight. I didn't want to be a Russell Simmons. I didn't want to be Chris Lightly. I want to be me. You understand? I want to be able to take my daughters to the mall and shop. I want to be able to drive and be free. I want to still be in the streets of Newark. I still, sitting out, talking to people and enjoying, my life. I didn't want to be bodyguard up or somebody who's a star because I think everybody have a position in life.
So, okay, so we're going to, of course, get the book and have you back. But do have a couple of, fellow panelists that, come through all the time. Would you mind taking a couple of questions?
Sure.
Okay, so hold on one second. And hey, in my opinion, do you have a question or something you want to ask Courtney?
Yeah, I want to ask him something.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Burgess,
Yes.
it's nice meeting you.
Nice
I hope everything's going okay with you.
Yes.
Okay. So even if you couldn't testify, why not turn over the tapes that you had to get justice for them? Because obviously they didn't want to get justice for themselves.
I didn't have to turn it over. They took it. When I went to the grand jury, they asked me what was the tape set. I said it was in my email. They said, "Where's my email?" I said, "I see it through my phone." So they confiscated my phone, and that's how they went in. But their thing was they couldn't prosecute them on that because they wasn't a witness of the tapes. I was a witness of the tapes. It's a difference. You understand? Like if I come in your house to steal proof of something, I can't use that as evidence because it was taken from you. But if you came to testify, it was your word. It wasn't a he say, she say.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, in my opinion. Hold on one second. Hey, Savannah, do you have a question?
I do. Thank you for joining our panel this evening, Courtney.
Mm-hmm.
When you were, when Kim was around, did you physically see any maltreatment by Sean towards Kim? And did you intervene when those incidents occurred?
I know it's there, but I always seen it. When I mean wasn't there, like I wasn't there as a Kim um, supporter because I came up with Tupac, so I was an outlaw. So we always was distance. So when I heard something like she was away when she got her nose broke, um, if my mother came home with her nose broke, my father ain't said who put their hands on you. We knew that he had to put her hands on you. We ain't had to see it. Like you're a woman yourself. If you have kids or a husband, you came home a certain way, they're gonna ask your mom what happened. But if you came home with your father and nobody said anything, you know it had to be that. And her biggest thing was that it was on a boat. Why she the only one was damaged from being on the boat. Then she was in the hospital for beating down. And I always got the second thing because I grew up with Tupac. I wasn't there as her friend. I was there as a close associate because I was Tupac road dog. He trusted me when he went to see Kim. And I guess she chose Diddy because Tupac wasn't at his state in time of life that he wanted to settle down with her. He couldn't put her behind that white gate or that big house. He was still being Tupac. You understand? He was. What I mean by that, he was enjoying who he was as an artist.
Right, and and because I come from that era too, and I
Right,
can recall seeing him with several bruising on her face,
right.
collarbone, and things. I'm gonna say I'm gonna speak for me. I just always wonder why the ones that were connected in that bad boy circle, whether you were a bodyguard, an associate, a friend of a friend, anyone who, if I come up and see one of my girlfriend's sister, cousin, and I see that she is being mistreated in any way, I think I would intervene in some form or fashion. But it just seems that because Bad Boy was a giant at that time, um, people were willing to overlook just to stay connected.
Even the kids could have came out and said something. You understand? Even
But
though
they
they
were
the kids,
children. At that time, they were children, though.
even if they went home like today, if your kid go to school and say, "My parent beat me," they come into your house and lock you up. So it's always somebody there for the kids. A councilman, a teacher could say, "I can't do my homework. I'm being disturbed because my mother is not right." You feel what I'm saying? It's not just the mailman seeing her or the girlfriend seeing her. Even her famous girlfriends seen her and knew this. Nobody even spoke up and helped her. You understand? He shipped her out to the Dominican Republic till she got healed on trips, but nobody could see her. And that's what it was. And, out of respect, he could have married her. She was a beautiful woman, inside and out. And for him, the way he treated her, I think it's still a plan for him. I don't think he's done. I think 4 years, that's high school. You go to school for high school for 4
But
years.
we got to understand, though, you saying 4 years is high school, but you got to understand that what he was charged with, actually 4 years is a stretch. Is actually extra. You can't, you shouldn't. First of all, we want the law to be fair across the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anybody else in this world that gets prosecuted and found guilty for prostitution is not getting the 4 years that he got, right? So I think everybody wanted his time to be based on the crime that he was not found guilty of. And so that's what I think everybody's not understanding. Even if you didn't want to testify, if you had actual tapes that had this stuff on there that you're saying that's on there, they could have used that without you even testifying, because everybody that was in the tapes that they had did not testify, but they utilized those particular tapes. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think that what the prosecutors thought they had on him, they did not have, because they were waiting to see the children. They kept mentioning kids, but nothing ever surfaced with him violating kids in that trial. I
It
think.
was. If you look at some of the stuff I put on YouTube, I put one of the things that when Justin Bieber was 16 years old, he drugged him.
But
That's
why?
right.
See, and I don't want to go that far into that, Courtney. Only reason why I don't, because I followed that trial and none of that was actually in the trial. So
Right.
that
Nothing they charged him for, nothing they arrested him for was in that trial. They found bullets, guns, and drugs. Why that wasn't brought up with his trial? So you got to ask what it was. So at the end of the day, I have my own issues. Like I sent you some receipts.
Mhm.
Somebody came to my house and put a gas bomb and blow my house up. Like somebody paid my brother to blow my house up. And I sent you the receipts for that. I was shot 6 times. So I can't be the biggest thing in the world and go against. Of course, he got more money than me, and that don't mean anything. That's why I put in the streets. I have more streets and industry than he have, because we only see that people say Diddy, Diddy, Diddy. I call him Lucifer, Lucifer, Lucifer. They only smile up in his face because they put that mask on.
Mm-hmm.
That's why today you got to ask, why nobody came out? All his associates ain't come out and come to court to support him. Because they know what he was about. He did so many people dirty. Like, Frank Lucas is my godfather.
Mm-hmm.
His father, man, Diddy didn't have just industry. We had longevity. His father put that snitch on Frank Lucas. He was a snitch. So somebody killed him. So we had generation problems. So it wasn't just what y'all seeing surface. I didn't have no help. Somebody shot me. They wasn't arrested. I seen receipts that somebody came and was going to blow my house up. They turned the gas up in my fireplace, in my bedroom, in my family room, and my attic. So if I would have came in and lit the light or the stove on a Sunday, it would blow my whole house up. So I wasn't getting help from them at all. So why am I going to testify? Like, he have a street record of people around him that's not here. Andre Harrell, Heavy D, Craig Mack, Black Rob.
They said Craig Mack died of HIV/AIDS.
Now, I could say that, but what brought the AIDS to him? AIDS don't just pop out a can from opening.
Right, but Courtney, so are we going to throw all of this street legend stuff on Diddy back and we calling it facts?
We got to look at, if you call a chicken, it's a chicken. He should have been charged as a serial killer because too many people around him was killed and nobody investigated the killing.
But but listen, they wanted to do RICO on him and they didn't even have the evidence for RICO. And now you saying he should have been charged as a serial unaliver because people they would have never got a guilty charge on that either.
They should have known better than that. They couldn't get RICO on John Gotti, but they got RICO on R. Kelly. How can you get RICO on the one man? RICO is more than just one person.
Oh, we know that, and that's why we knew over here that wasn't going to fly.
Right. So how it fly with R. Kelly? You get what I'm saying? So how R. Kelly get RICO and got 30 years, and he got 4 years? So you got to look at what's behind all this. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's bigger than just Diddy and me and you. Who's behind all this? And that's what's in the book. Once you get away, come back, you'll read. Because I didn't hold no bars with this book.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, you understand? Like, my own brother sold me out. If you check your email, I sent you. My own brother somebody paid him to blow my house up.
Is your brother older or younger than you?
Older than me. An ex-cop.
Were y'all close growing up?
Yes, we same mother, just different fathers.
Mm.
And my father took care of him, and that's what he did. He chose to take a bribery to blow my house up. And how I knew it was behind that, because somebody called my phone. I asked him how I got my phone number. He said, my neighbor. I asked my neighbor who gave my number. He said, it was this guy came to the house, was talking to my brother. He gave my phone number.
Mm.
So I want to help the FBI and the Home Security, but they couldn't help me. They just want a conviction. What about my life? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So what I had to do, I had to give y'all this, the Bible of hip hop. From everybody who was unlifted, is the truth behind them in this book.
What happened between you and your lawyer, Ariel Mitchell Kidd?
Ariel Mitchell was on the bribe from somebody from either Diddy or Jay-Z. She wasn't there for me. Because I wanted to testify. She never told me I wanted to testify. And then 2, she came to me. She got a laptop. She supposed to give me $10,000 for the laptop. She gave me an envelope with 300 in singles and 300 in 20s. I opened it. That's what it was. I knew it because somebody called me and said she was coming to beat me for the laptop. So I still had the laptop with some of the stuff in it, but somebody put it on me. What happened to Chris Brown and other artists that put them to jail for rape and what they did behind all this? Because she had their case, and that's what she did. Ariel English, she was the lawyer for her. Why she was made to testify against Diddy, and she was there. I saw in the tape. She's the girl with the black on, and I got to think of his name. He's head of a record label for Whitney Houston. Clyde Davis. When she walked by, Clyde Davis stuck his finger up her dress. They really tortured these people.
Okay. Julius, do you have a question?
Yes, and it's a really good question from the chat. Mr. Burgess, thank you for joining us this evening.
You're welcome.
My question is, and I don't know if you're able to answer, what makes Diddy so untouchable? What, and let me preface it. For many years before his recent legal incarceration, what makes him so untouchable?
I don't think he was untouchable. He was the thing was it was a thing called in this book, I put him as the director. He's the director, and he would take you and film you and push play and show you what he had on you. From Snoop Dogg, whatever he did with Snoop Dogg, he had him on tape. So if Snoop Dogg ever told on him or didn't help who he needed to be helped, he had that push play on you. That wasn't untouchable. That was bribery and dirty things that he had on people. Now you may say untouchable. That wasn't untouchable. If you came to his house and party and you got beside yourself and he had you on tape, that's what made him vulnerable. That you couldn't come back and say anything. If you need a favor, he'd say, "Remember that what you did? I need that favor." Because I'm not just to be with father or mother. While he wasn't forced to come testify, he was a victim at the time. He was a child, and I put that on tape that they drugged him. I showed him that Game from Cali handed liquor to Diddy and gave him at 15 a bottle to drink, and he passed out on it, and he took his shirt off, and it went from there. I told him it went from there. That was enough. They could have took him and charged him for endangering a minor for drinking. So that's the answer to your thing. He wasn't touchable. He just had too many people on tape.
So we'll kind of reel it in and kind of wrap it up just a little bit, because as I stated, I'm gonna get the book, I'll read it, and then we'll be in touch for you to come back. But so how did you first? I understand you said you got into the music industry, but who was your first entry into this music industry? And what is it that can we see your name on something that you produced, or
Our first venture was with Craig Kelman, the owner of Big Beat Records, Atlantic Records president.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in by Tame One from the Artifacts. We was a childhood friend from 5th grade, and he was signed to them, and he needed me as a man. He said, "I need you to be my manager because I believe they was getting me." Rob Tulo, Atlantic Records, that was the A&R. He believed him and El Sensei, his brat partner, was beating him for money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when he came and got me to help him in the industry. So Hussein Fatal, who came up with Tupac. You Google my name and show all the stuff I did. I'm responsible for it. It's all on receipts, and I sent you the receipt of the police report too.
Yeah,
and the fire, and my brother was one of the things, and they didn't even arrest him.
Well, are you speaking to do you speak to your brother now?
I haven't spoke to him for a whole year since that incident happened. I haven't returned back to the house since that incident happened because they still today come through there. So that's it ain't that I'm scared. I just know something happened to Malcolm X, something happened to Martin Luther King, something happened to Jam Master Jay, something happened to Biggie, something happened to Tupac. He's in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I'm alone by choice. I know a lot of people. I get love when I go through the city of Norwalk in the streets. I get love, but I go on my time. I don't go by appointments. Would I go back in the music industry? No. I won't. I won't go back in another studio, and I won't go back in another record label. And I'd never put my name on another show that I'm gonna be there because I know that giving people time to plan what they want to do to me. and I'm not gonna live looking behind my back. I'm living good. I'm okay. In life. You understand?
So you just abandoned your house and you're never going to go back to it? Why don't you just sell it?
I'm not gonna sell it. What I did, I had someone go there and maintenance. I'm gonna do remodeling it soon. It's just that it's gonna be a time and place when I go back. You understand? I'm going to return. You understand? I do believe I'm gonna be brought to trial again, but it won't be on no sexual with Diddy. I believe I'm gonna be brought back with the death of Tupac Shakur, and I did put that in the book. Who's the real shooter in the car? For this book right here. So I believe I'm gonna come back for that, and then I will take the stand because I won't look at myself as someone who's snitching for something I had no business of. Tupac was a friend of mine. He was a brother of mine. His brother who was killed too, Gaddafi. So I had to ride for my outlaws. I had to stand up and be, you understand, who I was that was there for me. And I would let him down.
Yeah. Born and raised in New Jersey?
Born and raised in New Jersey, Newark.
What high school?
I went to Velsburg High.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a team player, you understand? So I got to go for my outlaws. So yes, I will. When that time comes, yes, you will see me up there, front and center.
So, listen, we appreciate you coming through. I will drop all the information in the description of this video, where the people can go on Amazon to get the book. Do you want to throw out any social medias where you want them to follow you?
If they want this book, they can get it from me. They can email me at CourtneyBurgessNJ@gmail.com. It's going for $25.
Okay.
I'll get this to them. It's still there. They have to get this from Amazon. And I'm looking forward to be back as a guest of your show once, we close things up. Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate you. So if you could have a conversation, with Diddy, because the family was very upset about those Kim Porter books. If you have a conversation or say something to Diddy or say something to the children, what would you want to say? Because we got to understand that that's Kim Porter is their mother.
What I would say to them, I apologize for them putting her face on the book. The first book with Chris Todd. But you gotta understand, it was their mother when they was doing things to other people when she was alive. It don't stop when she's not here. You get what I'm saying? Other people may forgive them, but you can't be so sanctified and say my mother was this, was that. Your mother was alive when half this stuff was going on. She had tape. She didn't have to write it anymore. Like I'll be sure said, go to the FBI. Like she could have brought it to the FBI. She could have stopped him in his tracks back then. So she's not as guilty as me. She's not as guilty as him. It just was she wasn't there at the right time to do what she had to do because she had her own reason why she didn't do it. Maybe she didn't do it because of twins. Maybe she wasn't financed to be to take care of her family after this. So, I did it for her. I put the book out for her piece and her what she did, because everybody thought some female had it or whatever, but it was given from a second person to me. So I'm a publisher, so I did publish it, but I didn't want her face on it. You understand? That's what I want to apologize to the sons and the twins for that. Him, I have no word to say to him because he's irrelevant to me. If I had a chance to say to him, I would ask him, why did he just marry her? Why didn't you just marry Kim Porter? Like she was a decent woman. Why didn't you just marry her?
But he has several other baby mothers, and don't you think they're decent too? So why didn't he marry one of them?
No, the reason why I say that, is because all the ones he had babies by her, he put them in her house with her. And I think that's the most violation you could do, is bring another woman in your house and have a baby by her. Like her best friend lived with her and she had a baby by him. You get what I'm saying? Cassie didn't have a baby by him, but she trusted him as her manager or a regular thing. But we both as humans know it don't take a male or female to know it wasn't just business with them. You understand? So that's why I said, when did it stop? Why do it stop? Because she's not here. It should have stopped when the first person was hurt. So just
So,
for the,
but
yeah.
on that theory though, there was a lot of other people that could have spoke up too that did not.
Exactly. Like I'll be sure he only spoke up when he went to jail. Why he didn't say that when you came out of the coma? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So he know what was done to him. Jamie Foxx, why he didn't say what really happened to him. So these are people, even Usher, he caught herpes from Diddy, and that's facts. So why didn't he say how he caught herpes from Usher?
Well, but I don't want to do that on my channel because I don't know nobody's medical records, and I can't say that's facts.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't want to do that.
Okay.
So I don't kind of do the legends on the street, right? Because there's legends on the street about what perhaps Diddy didn't do, or whatever the case may be. And there's some things that was proven as facts. And the thing about Albie Shore was writing a book, but the minute Diddy was not found guilty of the RICO, all of a sudden Albie Shore book was scrapped. So it's I lean towards, like, I think a lot of people, back in my day, they call it putting 20 on 10. A lot of people to me are putting 20 on 10 because they thought that he was going to go down for RICO and spend the rest of his life in jail. But then when all of a sudden, when it was just the prostitution charges, or all the noise kind of started to die down. But we can get more into that. I want to read your book first. We can get into that when you come back. Let me play your commercial here. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can share screen. Let's see if I can get this for the people to show them. Okay, hold on one second.
Wasn't supposed to be that guy who kept receipts, the guy holding on to confessions. However, receipts have a way of keeping you when bridges start burning themselves and people and places start to fade into oblivion. My job was the opposite. I was the glue man in the music industry, the fixer. They say every industry has a room where the truth finally shows up, where people stop performing and start confessing, the same as in the streets. Newark taught me that every dream comes with receipts. The price of being invisible and the risk of being seen. And if you don't keep those receipts in a safe place, someone else will. The first time I got paid in the music industry, it wasn't for finding talent or cutting records. It was for making a problem disappear. Call it logistics, call it diplomacy. I called it survival.
All right, well, there we have it. Let me just go back. I'm sorry here. Let's go back. That's your commercial there for your book. I appreciate you coming through. Everybody, you could get the book on Amazon. I'll talk to all the subbies a little bit later about, when I'm going to get the book. And I'm going to read the book, and then Courtney, you will come back. I appreciate you coming through. After we read the book, we will definitely have some more pointed questions for you in regards to this whole situation. But give me, before I let you go and close out, why should the subscribers purchase your book? What are we going to learn that we don't know already?
It's to be like when I came up in the industry, my mother told me, you will make a whole money and go to hell behind it. And I didn't understand why. And now you can be able to read the book and see why it's not just about the industry that you get yourself into. When you sign that contract, it's more than just a record deal. You understand? I'm not pointing fingers at no record label, but it's just proof in the pudding about, if you're not selling, it's like any investment. If you're not making enough money, they treat you like you ain't the biggest thing on the stove no more. You're not a teapot. You understand? But you're still a pot on the stove. Like I was taught, if somebody give you a half a glass of water, you don't complain that you got to have a glass of water. It may be a reason why you got to have a glass of water. You understand? So I'm still here for a reason. And this book is very pretty because somebody can have a child out there who may want to be in the music business. Let them read this book first and let them decide she had been a lawyer or a judge or the best garbage man or a writer. You understand? And then he could guide him through the music business. But I go back in the music business, I'm 55 years old. I don't need to be in the music business no more. I make a space for somebody else who's I'm still built for it, but it's more things from my journey that God got for me. You understand? I'm a cultivator. I grow in New Jersey and I grow in Denver. That's enough income for me. I have several real estates, property, 100 properties. So the industry is not really my bank anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's my industry life. I can always say. You
Right,
understand?
it's your story. It's a part of your history now. And
Exactly.
You wrote your book, and now it's definitely documented, and it will be out there forever. Listen, Courtney, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, Cheryl.
Yes, I'm gonna drop the description and everything where they could click on the link to get your book from Amazon, and we'll be in touch. Sounds good?
Yes, and if they want this one, they get it from CourtneyBurgessNJ@gmail.com.
Okay, so email me all the information, and I'll put that in the description of this video. Okay.
Okay, it's my same email you got.
Yes.
And
Oh, it's on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that's the email they go to and type me, and I mail it to them.
Okay. I will definitely. I'll update my description in this video, and I'll put it in there. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Okay. All right, y'all. That was Courtney. That was our surprise guest. We'll talk more about that later. It went a little longer than I expected. But let's move forward because I do want to squeeze in this Tyra Banks story. My heart is breaking for Tyra Banks because y'all just are determined to do her dirty. And that's why I got this title, Can We Forgive? That was Tyra Banks 20 years ago. And they are now still raking her over the coals. I promise you this. The Black girl, from birth to the day we go back to the earth, we get done so dirty. Eva was on CBS today. Eva Marcel won America's Next Top Model during her cycle. Went on to have a great career. She has a good show, All the Queen's Men. I don't watch it. It was a little bit too much for me. The link should be pinned to the top. I'm 48. If not, I'll drop it for you again. And everybody is coming out. They are just ragging her and dragging her. Miss J Alexander, and the photographer, they did an interview and just saying Tyra needs to tell her truth. She told her truth. If you don't like my truth, what am I supposed to do? Am I going to lay myself on the altar every day so y'all can step on me until y'all feel that I have suffered enough? Let me share a screen so we can get more into this story. Oh, why is... Hold on one second, everybody. Why won't it show my... Okay. Why? Let me see. Remove from the studio. Okay, there we go. All right.
Mornings is Eva Marcel. She's an actress. She's a model. She's a former contestant on America's Next Top Model. Marcel, known as Eva Pickford on the show, was the winner of season 3 back in 2004. Yes. Eva, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Still looks the same. I know. There was a little snippet of you at the end in the doc, right? I think we see you.
A snippet.
A little snippet.
Yeah, there's a moment where Tyra talks about the people that have been successful on the show, and she gives a nod to what has transformed the industry. Being that I was the shortest girl on my season, and the idea of a Black girl and this short in the modeling business it's unheard of. It won't never happen.
Well, this documentary, as you know, Eva, has everybody talking. I know you watched all 3 episodes.
Oh.
What's your reaction to it?
You know, when I first found out there was a documentary, I was amazed. I remember reaching out to Jay Manuel, like, is this the same top model that we did?
Yeah.
Because how don't I know about this?
Yeah. And they didn't ask you to be on it.
They did not
That
ask me to be on it. It was very surprising. And then I watched it. And after I watched it, I was gobsmacked. I was in awe. I told Jay my mouth was wide open. To be a part of a club and not know what's going on in the club is crazy.
What exactly was it troubling to you? Was it, when you say gobsmacked?
And what
Gobsmacked
surprised
can
you?
mean one can be great, or it could be something that, oh my God.
Amazingly horrifying for the stories. I've lived my experience. I've walked in my shoes. And though there is a level of relatability, one would assume someone having walked in the same shoes, I had no idea, like absolutely no idea. I have been asked about Tyra for 21 years.
Yeah.
No matter what project I'm doing, what I'm involved in, somehow Top Model finds its way in my interview.
Because it's part of your resume, part of your life.
It is. It's absolutely a part of my life. But I didn't understand why it was such a topic every time I interviewed with someone. I'm done 154 projects since Top Model. It's been 21 years.
But when you look back at the show, what stands out to you? What stood out to me was how young these women were, these girls were at the time. What stood out to you?
How young we were, looking at young me, the hopefulness in my eyes, and seeing that in all the other contestants. What stood out was everything I didn't know before me.
Was it just a show to you? Did it?
It was a competition.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
This was a competition. This was an opportunity for me to win $100,000 and to show the world that even though I'm shorter, even though I'm not your average looking model, I have the goods. I have the chops. I've been vouched by Tyra. I've been put through the rigors. I mean, we did a 2.5-month boot camp.
But the reality to you now is it different?
It was a television show. I learned later with a competition in it, but it was absolutely a TV show.
So Eva, let me ask you, the docuseries, you say you were in awe when you watched it because you didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, but it details many controversial moments, from the alleged sexual assault that happened to eating disorders to models being put in blackface, or one model who was people who were bullied, and incredibly troubling, one model whose mother was shot in a violent act, was then asked to replicate that in a photo shoot.
Horrible.
Do you think that the judges and the producers had a role in creating this type of environment, even if you never saw it?
Absolutely. That environment could not exist without producers aiding and abetting what was going on. I've done reality now on every level.
Yeah.
Housewives. I mean, I don't know what's going on in someone's life unless the producers tell me. It's a part of how this thing works. At the time, we were kids trying to find our dreams realized and actualized by a woman that we believed could do that for us. And if she could see it in us, then the world would see it in us, because the world sees it in her. So it was just a TV show to win a competition.
Yeah, and we appreciate you coming in and adding a little bit more texture to this very layered conversation about this show. But as you mentioned, you have done so many projects after America's Top Model. BET.
Thanks to Top Model, though.
Yeah, exactly.
What I will say is I will never fail to thank Tyra.
Yeah.
What Tyra set out to do in this business, I will always say, and especially for Top Model, initially, she set out to change the world, to change what the modeling industry looked like, sound like, felt like, and expected.
Yeah, and
she did that for me.
Served as a launch pad for projects like BET's All the Queen's Men.
Yes.
5th season, by the way.
Can you believe
What
that?
can we expect from your character?
So
Great show.
You've got a movie coming out, too.
I do. All the Queen's Men has just finished its 5th season. We have not aired it yet. It comes out this year. And then I have a new... Shout out to Tyler Perry. Thank you so much, Tyler Perry, for betting on me. We love our show. It's #1 rated show amongst scripted subscribed shows.
There you go.
The #1 on our platform. So excited. But the most exciting thing in my life right now is falling from a plane. I fell from a plane. That's the name of my new movie. Fell from a plane. It's
I like
on
that
Lifetime.
title. But can I just ask you one more thing about Tyra, because she's getting a lot of heat for not being accountable. Seems to me she apologized many times within the show. Do you think that she owes people more than what she has said so far? When you look at her role in it?
I believe that, I saw the show.
Yes.
She apologized a million times, but an apology to the person that you wronged is only as good as they could appreciate it. And so for the young girls that were sexually assaulted, for the young
And it
women,
did look like sexual assault.
absolutely.
On the tape, yes.
For the young girls that now have eating disorders or look at themselves and never feel beautiful, that little girl in them that will always live in the woman that is them. There is no sorry, I think, that's big enough to truly feel and heal that kind of hurt.
Yeah, well said. Eva, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
for having me.
And congratulations.
Yes,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Everything.
Okay, Eva. In my opinion, your thoughts?
So, you know what? I do feel like people can change, and I want to say this as nice as I can.
Okay.
I don't see much of a change in Tyra. I think she is who she is, and maybe this is who she's gonna be forever. But to say that her sorry is never gonna be enough, it is a little much. You know what I'm saying? Then quit asking for something that you're not gonna accept.
Come on now.
Don't understand why we keep going around this merry-go-round. We making all these movies and documentaries and saying they want her to hold herself accountable, but when you say sorry, it's not enough. So when you're saying accountability, then you need to say what it is that you want from her. What is it that you're looking to receive? Because she can't go back in time and not do it.
Come on now.
She can't make you not have a disorder, an eating disorder now that you have it.
Come
She
on.
can't go back and rewrite history. It's just not. I mean, we all wish we could go back in time and change something that we did, you know. But to say that my sorry is not good enough for you, then you can't say I'm not being accountable because you're just not taking what I'm giving you as accountability.
You said a mouthful. Well, let me just add this, because sometimes when I listen to these things, I gotta listen more than once. And I said, what kills me is people with the selective outrage. So she was like, I was God-smacked. And I was in the club and didn't know none of this was going on. The lies you tell, Eva, because Eva even had some issues with Tyra Banks when she first ended that show. And she talked about America's Next Top Model. She better go back in her own little history. And Eva was a little something while she was on America's Next Top Model. Because they spoke to Eva a lot about her attitude. So it's like, it's funny how people want to be forgiven, but they don't want to forgive. And what I caught that was so funny in this thing, right now, Tyler Perry is being accused of the most. He got 2 civil suits against him, and he got other people claiming some wild things about him. So she's like, OMG, about the girl on the show that was, allegedly SA'd. I got to say allegedly. But meantime, you praising the man that people are saying he SA'd them. Miss me with the nonsense. Savannah?
Oh, Diva, you took my talking points because listening to her was infuriating me. How dare she? And I'm not, Tyra is who Tyra is. However, this doesn't fall squarely all on her shoulders. And for Eva now, 20 plus years later, to act like she's blindsided, like she didn't know anything, is some straight BS. Because as you said, she had a little attitude on her season, and folks were complaining about her during her season.
100%.
Can she take a mean picture? Absolutely. Gorgeous girl. Took a taking pictures. She should have won. But don't come to us 2 decades later with your nasty attitude. being all nonchalant, like you didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. My whole issue with this story is one, Tyra is who she is, and we all knew who she is in front of this screen, behind the screen, because other models back in the day in that industry were complaining about Tyra and her diva attitude. And at first we dismissed it because there weren't too many African American models back at that time, and she was probably in there windmilling just to get her spot on even on Sports Illustrated, being the first to be on the cover of that magazine. However, this doesn't fall squarely on Tyra. Tyra needed a hit show, and some certain things needed to be done. Were they right at the time? We didn't analyze like we're doing now 2 decades later. Unfortunate, highly unfortunate, and of the young woman who got SA'd. So we're not gonna ignore that fact. That should have been dealt with right up front when it happened, how it happened, and folks should have went to jail, and some protocols should have been corrected. But all these models, all these women who went up there and got their heads shaved, teeth pulled out, all this other stuff, y'all were grown people, and y'all have made decisions, and you sold your dignity and your values to be to have the possibility to get a cover girl contract, because cover girl was the ish back then. Everyone wanted to be a cover girl cover girl model. So all these, and I haven't fully watched the full documentary, so forgive me, but Tyra was a pioneer. She put UPN on the map because nobody was watching UPN. Nobody. She put them on the map. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to come now with all this outrage on Tyra, and the show, because we tuned in. I know I tuned in. I gave up maybe around season 14, 15. I couldn't remember, but I was there for well over a decade because I liked the finished product, and I understood what it took to be featured in these magazines and things like that. And I enjoyed the Jays, but for Eva now to come 20 years later and riding off Tyler Perry's tails and not saying anything negative about the man that puts her on this. I ain't never seen one of the episodes of the Queen's Men, or I don't even know what the show is. But she's not going to bite the hand that feeds her. So she's going to turn a blind eye again, as she did back then, because it benefits her. So don't act with the I didn't know, nobody told me. No, you knew, but it benefited you at the time, so you kept rocking with the ignorance, just like she's doing now.
That part. So, and you mean to tell me, because you said everywhere you went, you did 154 projects after Tyra Banks, and they still keep asking about it. You mean to tell me you never saw not one of these videos in all of those years with the people saying, oh, we had a hard time, or we can't stand Tyra Banks? You was godsmacked when you saw the documentary, but yet you was mad that you wasn't in it. You know, people need to stop playing us like we don't pay attention. I said, so you mad that they didn't call you for the club you wasn't in? And I called Jay and was like, oh my God, this is about the America's Next Top Model we was in. Girl, bye. All of your fellow top model people are online on social media, and they've been talking about Tyra for years. And this documentary, that's shocked you? Miss me with the nonsense, Eva, and I like her. Katrina, your thoughts?
Hey Diva, hey panel, hey chat. I'm with you, Diva, Savannah. Girl, there's no way you didn't see the stuff that they say that happened in that house. You saw it, and now you complaining because they didn't put you in the documentary. I mean, be for real, Eva. You could have came out with something better than that. If you want to be in the documentary, girl, you should have called them. This is crazy. Tyra, all I can do is shake my head with Tyra. Um, because it's sad. But as we said before, these kids, I mean, these people, these adults put themselves in that situation. They didn't like it, they could have left. And it didn't change from season one to how many seasons it is now. So they put themselves in that place of wanting to be a model. And I get it, it's a competition. But like I said the other night, it's only one winner. I would have made a way to find my own resources into finding, getting they have to get their catalogs and stuff together and all that because only one person could win. So I would have tried to find a better way, especially if they say they getting treated the way they got treated. No, ma'am. I would have did something different. But that's all I got.
Yeah. Here's the thing though, with people see, I've always understood that whether you're in a sport, whether it's in school, wherever the situation is going to be, everybody is not going to be number one. So, even with me when I went to college, it wasn't about whether I was in the top of the class. I was glad that I graduated in the class. So that's always been me. So I was still going to show because the exposure is what can help you get in some doors too, even if you're not the winner. You got to know how to use what you are given to your advantage. But these people blaming the eating disorders solely on Tyra Banks, I don't love myself on Tyra Banks. They doing too much. 48, your thoughts?
Hey Diva panel chat. I agree with everybody so far. To me, I don't see why people are so surprised. I stopped watching her show maybe like after the third or fourth season. Tyra Banks is like Regina George, and Eva was like Regina George 2.0. They were just mean girls. If you look at the movie, that's America's Next Top Model. Everybody just trying to fit in to this crowd, so like you said, if take advantage of the exposure, but you don't have to be there and tolerate mistreatment and stuff like that. I've even seen clips where she's like yelled at girls and stuff. Like I never really liked Tyra. I'm gonna just say that she's always seemed like she was just a mean girl. You never can trust wings, a 36D, and a thong. Don't trust it.
And she always told us about the shameful thing about Tyra Banks. So I don't want anybody to get it twisted. Is she wild? Yeah, but do I think all of this belongs on her back? No. So she always told us that Naomi Campbell treated her so bad and she wanted to tell those stories all the time. So it's ironic how she felt that Naomi Campbell treated her so bad, but then on the flip side, what she, did to these girls. And so somebody mentioned in the chat, and I'm coming to you, Julius, just give me a second. Somebody mentioned in the chat how she did the J's and the judges. Let's be clear. Nobody owns anything and can make all the calls themselves. We always, even when we quote unquote own our own business, we still have somebody to answer to, whether it's our customers or whatever. And you got to adjust and, fit yourself into the situation if you want to stay in business and make sales. So let's be clear. Tyra Banks didn't own UPN. Even Kevin Monk, I saw all 3 episodes. He said in that documentary, we had the powers that be over us that we had to answer to. And he admitted to a lot of the stuff with the editing and things that happened, because with the one girl, I'll use the word violated, that was violated on camera, whatever the case may be. They actually filmed the whole thing. And he said they decided on the back end to start cutting some of it out. But they decided, it wasn't like Tyra Banks was like, okay, yeah, let's have her call her boyfriend and film it. Let's have her this. Just like Andy Cohen is home and they feed him stuff to ask these people, Tyra Banks was home. She wasn't watching that 24-hour feed, and they would tell her such and such happened last night. You're going to talk about it. So She should not be solely responsible. But let me get back to the Jays before I come to Julius. All of those judges in the photographer now, they told her they was going in a different direction and to let those people go. They made her be the bad guy. And I don't know if you ever been on a job where they use you as the fall guy. They wanted somebody out. They told you, you got to be the one to go do it. Julius, your thoughts?
I'm gonna be blunt. Eva was a diva her season. She was catty towards Yaya.
Remember that?
Okay. If we're gonna talk, let's talk. And Yaya is winning. She did not win Cycle 3.
Mm-hmm.
But whose tribute movie was she just in? Whitney Houston's. Now she can't sing. That was Deborah Cox. But she portrayed Whitney. Eva, my view of her started to change when she appeared seasons ago, years ago, on House of Pain. I started to not like her. And if you watched any of the recent House of Pains, there's one character by the name of Laura, Calvin's current woman, but they broke up. Eva's character, Tracy, was Laura of the mid to late early 2000s. And, you know, every time she would probably make a cameo in appearance, she'll probably be with a guy. He had money, diamonds, straight divaling, thinking she was better. Eva, to me, now I read articles of the issues that Eva had with Tyra. One case in point, she wasn't getting job offers. She wasn't getting this from Redline. She wasn't hearing this from L'Oreal. Those are articles from years ago. But yeah, she said 150 projects. I'm going to say like about 50. Eva has selective memory because she's making her money so it doesn't affect me, but she had the same issues as those girls with Tyra. And the Jays, they were a problem. They trying to go keep to put it on Tyra. No. They were the problem. They were part of it too. Janice Dixon, whatever her last name is, a part of it too.
Oh, Janice Dickinson was mean, but kind of reel it in, Julius, because I'm going into the next story.
My point is this: you have skeletons in your closet too. Remember that.
Appreciate you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll into the last story really quickly. And they just kind of talked about how Michael Jackson, after that Pepsi commercial, and I'll never forget it. I was young at the time that this happened to Michael Jackson, and everybody was like, oh my God. So Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial led to his downfall and death. Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial was the beginning of the end. Now, I back in the day had. Let's take a look.
They had a stretcher there. They put Michael in it, and he was in pain.
My reaction was, without being too verbose about this, holy defecation.
He had severe pain. I believe that the Pepsi commercial was what led to the downfall of Michael.
I'm surprised he didn't end up owning Pepsi. after that because of how severe it was. But I believe that every single aspect of his life was impacted on that day, and not in a good way, in a very tragic, sad, horrible way. Breaks my heart.
So Michael Jackson's downfall can be directly traced to the 1984 Pepsi commercial that set his hair ablaze. And we connect the dots in our documentary, TMZ Presents Michael Jackson's 30 Fatal Seconds. We reveal shocking, never before seen footage of the infamous fire that engulfed Michael's head at the Shrine Auditorium in downtown LA. Brian Panish, the attorney for the Jackson family, believes the Pepsi commercial incident is what ultimately led to Michael's death. Motown Productions former president Suzanne DePasse says what happened to Michael was so egregious, she's surprised he didn't end up owning Pepsi. She believes every aspect of Michael's life was negatively impacted on that fateful day, telling us it was heartbreaking, sad, and a horrible moment in Michael's life. The Pepsi commercial left the Kina Pop with severe third-degree burns and led to his obsession with plastic surgery, a severe narcotics addiction, and eventually his death. And we point fingers at doctors who betrayed Michael by feeling his addiction as a way of integrating themselves with a big celebrity. TMZ Presents Michael Jackson 30 Seconds premiere tonight and will be available to stream on Hulu tomorrow. Super sad, and I don't disagree with that settlement. 60 seconds because we're in overtime. In my opinion, your thoughts?
I bet it had a lot to do with it because anybody that gets themselves caught on fire is gonna go through some pain, and you match that pain with drugs, and then his whole skin and hair was messed up. So then he just kept on doing stuff, and he was trying to figure out how to get himself back right. And the more he kept doing, the more it kept messing him up.
Very sad. And listen, I had a Jerry curl at the time, and not at that time, but I had a Jerry curl in my lifetime, and the products that you had to use in your hair to get that wet and
Man, and it was flammable too. That stuff was flammable.
That stuff was flammable. And those sparks in that commercial hit his head, and you saw the fire on the back of his head. It was super sad. Savannah, your thoughts?
I too remember that incident and how it shaped who Michael Jackson was after that that tragic event that happened, because that affected his face, his neck, around his ears. I mean, it was pretty bad. I agree with that woman. I'm surprised how he didn't own Pepsi after such an accident on a set that was for that brand. But and it's something that we grew up in our generation, and Mike was at that time, he was taking a lot of pain pills, and then his skin started lightening, and he was saying vertigo. I think he was just trying to cope with the damage that was caused by that fire. And thank goodness his dancers were close to assist in putting it out very quickly, but he did suffer quite a bit because of that incident, and it affected an area. Your scalp is very, very sensitive, and as you said, those products are flammable. But there was a pre-Mike before that show, and then after Mike, and I remember both Michael Jackson's, and how he's still great and the greatest artist ever that has lived, but it did shape who we had after that incident.
Yeah, very sad. Katrina, your thoughts? We might have lost Katrina. 48.
Yeah, I'm a 83 baby, so I don't remember that. But I remember the King of Pop is bad and Beat It. So just to keep my commentary short, long live the King of Pop.
Long live the King of Pop. Julius, your thoughts?
Listen, Michael gave that hit for my favorite movie, Free Willy. Will you be there? That's my song to this very day. Long live the king.
All righty. Wayne?
Yeah, that that was real big in my era, so I remember that very well. And I think most people in my era feel the same way, that was his downfall, just going downhill. And his just was drastic, that's it.
It's sad, and I feel like some of these doctors, it needs to be more responsibility for how much plastic surgery they do on a person, how much they prescribe when it comes to these narcotics, because the everyday average person would never be able to get that much narcotics, especially after, like, long after their surgery, whatever. But when it's a celebrity, they don't care. They just keep loading them up. And only because we know of the information. One of the most egregious is that Matthew Perry case, where the assistant and those doctors, which is so disgusting, just how they just kept supplying him, implying the drugs on him, knowing that he had a problem and an addiction. Just super, super sad. But listen, guys, I appreciate y'all for hanging out. For the special surprise guest that came through, for the Tyra Banks and the Michael Jackson story. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing time with me on this Thursday night. Y'all know the routine. If y'all ain't hit that like button on the way in, do the diva a favor. Hit it on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo choo.